up next, we have the next session, perfect for anyone who's thinking about studying abroad but isn't quite convinced yet. I hope you're just as excited as I am for finding the best study destination with AECC. Why consider overseas? I will now give the floor to Tricia Basco from AECC.
Yes, thank you, Rheign. Good afternoon, everyone. So let me just share my screen. So just to give you an introduction, my name is Tricia Basco. I am the Makati office manager, but I also handle US and UK, the US UK counselors here in the Philippines. So prior to joining the education agency, I was actually a high school counselor, and I'm quite thankful for camp because in the early days, in a few years ago, so my first introduction to international education was actually about with camp. So I was able to attend the first few conferences before, and helping out my high school students. I was able to realize a lot of things thanks to camp and about studying international. But now that I'm here with AECC, I am more than happy to share with you information about studying overseas. So now, it's truly, my name is Tricia. This is AECC. So what is AECC? It's actually an education consultancy founded in 2008. I'm not sure if some of you are aware of our agency, but maybe if you do, you could probably click the like button so that I'm aware if you've seen us in social media, probably on TikTok or Facebook or Instagram, or you've attended some of our webinars or our events. Okay, so for us, we are partnered with more than 800 institutions, and we present and recruit for the top universities and educational institutions in the world, including Australia, Canada, New Zealand, UK, USA, Ireland, to name a few. We have grown, but still growing. So in the Philippines alone, we have 3 offices. I'm in Makati. We also have one in Quezon City and Baguio. Visayas, we have one in Cebu, Bacolod, Iloilo. And in Mindanao, we even have one in Davao and in General Santos. So this afternoon, I hope you're still not hungry, but these are the topics that I'll be talking about. So 1 is advantages of studying abroad. 2, steps on how to apply through AECC. Study options. What are the requirements needed? And lastly, how to reach us. So by opting to study abroad, you will experience an education which helps you to stay ahead in this competitive world through the international qualifications that you will have. With this, your career opportunities will be enhanced as you will have internships, work placements, and field work that will give you a hands-on work experience during your studies abroad. Hundreds of our students succeed every year by choosing to study abroad and found better prospects. Through studying abroad, you will get to experience a country you may have never been to before. One of the biggest benefits of studying abroad is a chance to become immersed in a new culture and enjoy high standard of living. You'll get to see new perspectives and cultures and really embrace another country. Together with your student visa is your right to have a part-time job. You will also be allowed to work after studies, which means you have the opportunity to stay further after your study duration. So the last one is opportunity to also bring family members. So maybe I'll just skip that because most of you are still in high school. In the next slide, we get to see a comparison between Australia, New Zealand, Canada, US, and UK when it comes to the part-time work rights, work visa after studies, and bringing dependents. For work rights during studies, each country has the following rulings. Study work rights in Australia. So to address work shortages, student visa holders are allowed to work 48 hours per fortnight, effective last July 1. while in New Zealand and in Canada, limited to 20 hours per week while school is in session, but you can work full-time during holidays and vacation periods. Student work rights in the US generally is not allowed, but students can only work on campus for 20 hours per week when school is in session and full-time during school break. International students are allowed to work off campus after completing their first academic year through specific programs, such as the optional practical training or the curricular practical training. For the UK, full-time students can work 20 hours per week at maximum for those that are studying bachelor's and above level of studies. However, those that are studying foundation or something as equivalent to that would need to work 10 hours per week only. When it comes to work visa after studies in Australia, with a minimum study duration of 2 years, students are eligible to apply for the post-study work stream for 2 to 4 years. Additional extension if the degree is included in the eligible qualification list, or if the campus is in a regional area. On the other hand, graduate work stream visa stays duration is up to 18 months, provided that the qualification is specified in the skilled occupation list. The post-study work visa in New Zealand gives students a chance to stay further for the duration of 1 to 3 years. For Canada, post-graduation work permit has the duration of 8 months to 3 years, depending on the duration of studies. There is no specific work visa intended for graduates in the US. However, you can apply for OPT, which is 1 year, or an additional 2 years if the program that you have applied to is considered a STEM program. While the graduate visa for 2 years for graduates of higher degree in the UK, and 3 years if you study a PhD. Now, I'll just go through it quickly for bringing dependents. For Australia, Canada, and US, it is allowed. However, for US, they do not have work rights. So since we already discussed the reasons why studying abroad is the right choice for you, we will move on to the application process. Here are the 5 steps that you need to do to make your study abroad dream a reality. First, we have to figure out where do we start. To begin your study abroad journey, we will start with a consultation. Oh, sorry, let me just go back to that. Hold on. Sorry for the minor technical difficulty. Let me share my screen again. Okay, so now we're back to consultation. We will start with the consultation with one of our education counselors. So your counselor will guide and help you pick your best fit course, considering your preferred location. Next to discuss would be the budget, a vital aspect of your study abroad plan. Your education counselor will provide you institution options that offer good quality courses for a reasonable tuition fee. And of course, the statement of purpose, or for other countries, they either call it study plan or GTE statement. This is an essay containing your intent to study in that specific institution or country. The study plan, you have to explain how relevant it is to your course, how relevant the course is to your plans for the future, where you intend to work when you graduate, and you have to establish that you are a genuine student who is only after the qualifications that you can get in their country. So these are the 4 major things that will be discussed during the consultation stage. Once you have decided as to where you want to study, you will then proceed to the next step, which is course application. As your trusted agent, we will be the one to send your course application to your chosen institution. These are the documents you need to submit for the course application. Number one is the passport that should be valid for at least 6 months prior to travel. So this would serve as your international ID. Next is your academic record, so transcript and diploma. But since you are still studying high school, you would be able to initially use your transcripts alone, even without your diploma. Proof of English proficiency, such as tests like IELTS, PTE, OET, or Duolingo. And if ever you have experience working, even voluntarily, you could submit a CV and employment certificates. After submission, the institution will then assess your application if your profile matches the course you're applying to. The average waiting time to receive feedback from the institution is around 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, so with camp, I've learned that it is possible for Filipinos to study abroad, right? So I'm happy to say that with the help of the K-12 curriculum, it has been much easier now. Some universities in the UK and especially in Australia accept Filipinos even without taking SAT or having your IB or A levels. So with us, we would be able to guide you which schools are able to accept you directly with that. So also in the UK and Australia, so you would be able to finish a bachelor's degree in 3 years. Or if there are universities that are of higher ranking or they require higher entry requirements, two other options are doing foundation first, which is taking the basic subjects, which is a year before the 3-year or 4-year bachelor degree proper. Another option is doing diploma year first, which is 1 year, and it has similar subjects or is equivalent to year 1 of the bachelor's degree, which means that if a student does diploma, once he or she completes it, she would be able to go directly to year 2 of the bachelor's degree. So this is just an example. We do have a lot of brochures. However, now we're going digital. So if you ever would want to check if, for example, you do have SAT or the school would accept direct high school year 12 from the Philippines, you could always check their website or probably a digital version of their brochure, their course guide, and then you'd be able to check the specific program that you like, say, for example, ancient history, and then you just check the final grade that you have if it would be able to let you in the program that you like. So similarly, if you have SAT or probably IB or A levels, it will all be indicated here, as well as the required IELTS or English test grade, and then the fees as well, and then the intake. So everything would be there if you want to look at it on your own. But then again, we're here to help you. So step by step, AECC would be your counselor in AECC would be able to guide you all throughout. So next step is what we call acceptance and payments of fees. So in here, note that we will not let you pay the fees if there are still documents that you need to submit to the institution. So most of the time, if you are still in high school and you have like 6 more months to graduate, the offer that you will be getting is what you call a conditional offer. It means that you still have pending requirements that you need to meet before they allow you to accept the offer. But when you have already fulfilled all the pending requirements, they will then revise it into a full offer or a unconditional offer, and then they would be allowing you to accept it. So for Australia, you only need to pay 1 semester fee prior to visa submission. Then you will receive your confirmation of enrollment afterwards. So OSHE or the student health insurance is also required. Now for New Zealand, you are required to pay 1 year tuition fee after receiving the approved in principle. So it's the other way around. You need to do the visa first, get an approved in principle, and then that's the only time you have to pay for the 1 year tuition fee. The students who want to study in Canada, the tuition fee requirement will depend on the type of visa processing that you will be having. So if you plan to do regular application, you would only be required to pay for a deposit. While if you do the study direct stream visa application, you're required to pay 1 year full tuition fee. In the US, deposit also depends on the university. Sometimes only an I-20 issuance fee of USD 5,000 or less will be asked. The first term tuition fee should be paid prior to enrollment. For the UK, minimal deposit is needed to secure confirmation of acceptance for studies or CAS, and payment of full semester fee prior to start of the program is a must. The fourth step in your study abroad plans is the visa application. As a visa applicant, you will need to establish that you meet all the requirements to receive the category of visa for which you are applying to. So the personal, academic, and employment documents that you have submitted prior to us during the school application, we would be submitting it again for your visa. And then other than that, you would also need to submit a revised copy of the statement of purpose. Now it's addressed to the visa officer who would be assessing your application. Next is medical exam. So depending on which country, there are only accredited clinics in the Philippines. And the next is NBI clearance or police clearance if you want to study in Canada. Now let us discuss the visa application process per country so that you have an overview. For Australia, there are two application options. First is the regular application and the streamlined application. For regular application, together with the personal documents, you need to submit financial evidence to cover 1 year expenses and the proof of English proficiency. While in streamlined, you need only to present your confirmation of enrollment, OSHC, passport, and birth certificate, along with your statement of purpose. No financial evidence will be asked. For New Zealand, UK, and USA, visa application, submission of financial evidence to cover 1 year expense is a must. But we have also observed that there are some students for the US who have a current B1 or B2 tourist visa. Most of them get or receive an interview waiver for their application. Similar to Australia, Canada has two visa applications, regular application and SDS that I've mentioned a while ago. For regular application, submission of financial evidence to cover 1 year expenses and the proof of English proficiency is not necessary. However, for SDS application, you need to pay 1 year tuition fee. No financial evidence will be asked. However, you need to purchase a guaranteed investment certificate, which will be attached during the visa application, and your IELTS score of 6.0 in all bands. It is important that you plan ahead. Like, when are you graduating? When do you plan to commence your studies? Do you want to have a break first before you commence your first year? So now that I'm presenting, note that each country have different processing times. In Canada, what we're seeing now, it's usually 1 year wait. So you really have to plan ahead. For Australia, around 4 to 5 months would still be acceptable, but we would always say that planning ahead, you attending this now is one sign that you really want to start right now and plan your future and studying overseas. Okay, after submission of the visa, each country will have their different processing times, as I've mentioned. Now we then go to the next step, or the last step, I should say, which is we want to give you something before leaving the country. So pre-departure seminar will be provided to students with information about culture shock, flight details, accommodation, institution orientation, and visa conditions, among others. We will also provide you tips on the things that you need to bring, things you need to do once you arrive in your study destination. I think one of the most important I think advantages of having us AECC help you out is we offer free services. So from consultation up until the end, we would be guiding you, and everything is for free. So other than that, AECC offers free end-to-end counseling and application management services for students looking to study in the countries that we represent. From consultation to course application to acceptance and payment to visa application up to pre-departure, we are here to guide you. So why should you choose AECC? Because it is our mission to provide expert international education guidance and counseling to passionate aspiring international students. We are duly authorized representatives and partnered with the majority of the best universities and colleges in the countries we represent. As authorized agents, we also follow the strictest ethical standards by our partner education providers. At AECC Global, we can offer the best options based on your qualification on the courses offered from a wide range of our partner institutions. With the right advice and guidance from experienced and professional education consultants, we have successfully processed a lot of students to study abroad, making their dreams a reality. Lastly, why pay for everything? Why pay for any processing or professional fee if you can have the right education consultancy that can help you achieve your dream of studying abroad for free? So other than what I've presented, we do have a video that we'd like to briefly share with you our story. Oh, there's no sound. Hold on. Thanks for letting me know. Oh, I don't think I have the option to put the sound. Is there a way? So anyway, I'll just share the video, but later on, we could share the entire presentation to you so that everyone could see it. Yeah. Okay, so I'll cut it short because the next one has audio, someone speaking. So and then the next one is so apart from the mentoring office hours that camp will be offering you, You could also book an appointment with us if you want to speak with us directly, or if your parents have more questions about studying overseas, you could just take a screenshot of the link or probably the QR code, and it will lead you to our booking page. And the next one, I would also like to invite you to our upcoming event this August. So this would be the biggest event yet that we have. Around 60 participating institutions from our partners from across the globe will be coming. So representatives of each school will be there. You could talk to them directly, ask them information about the school, the program, probably scholarships if they have any. If you're free on August 19, it will be held in Dusitani, Manila. Or if there are some of you who are based in Cebu, we are having one on August 20. Also the same time, 12 to 5. So 12 to 1 would be a webinar, a seminar, a session that would be more about studying overseas. And then 1 to 5 would be the fair proper. So you just go around and then ask the representatives about what they have to offer you. Yes. So this is like a short video to promote it. Okay. Now I think we still have time for some questions, but before I check on the chat, I just have some benefits that I could share with you, something that's not in my presentation. So again, something that I've learned from camp before, so studying overseas, especially in the US, it's not just about Ivy League. So that's where we come in, because we really find the best fit school for you based on your preferences, based on your financial capacity. Number two, our processes are free, so we don't ask anything from you. Number three, since our partner schools work with us to send more students to them, they waive the application fees. Most of them waive the application fees. And then we apply directly to the school. So most of our partner schools in the US don't require you to apply through the common app. You apply through us. Some of our partner schools in the UK, we also have agent portals. So you don't need to apply through UCAS. However, if you plan to apply to 3 or more universities in the UK, I think UCAS would be more acceptable. But if you want just to apply to 1 or 2, then you could ask our help as well. Next is we also help out in checking the statement of purpose. So we would let you know which parts might not be acceptable or red flags. So we would help you revise it or give you suggestions on how to better present yourself in your statement. Next is saving time by not having your documents notarized. So with us, because AECC is a well-recognized company or organization, the universities know our stamps or certification, so you don't need to have your documents notarized anymore. Just bring all the original documents to us, and then it's up to us to lodge the application for you. And then lastly, so apart from the Q&A this afternoon, so we will also be there during the mentor office hours. So if you have any questions, or probably your parents would want to know more about our services or studying in the different countries that I've mentioned, feel free to just join and then find us there. Okay, so let me just check if there are some questions for me in the chat box. Okay, I think there's none, but No questions? Yeah, so I'll share. Don't worry, I'll share with the team of our video. So one question, how can we avail of your services? So let me share again. Yes, so let me share again my PowerPoint, and then I'll show you the QR code of our. So every day we actually meet students virtually. So if you don't want to visit us in our office, by the way, I'm located in Makati. So if you're familiar with Glorieta, I'm just across. Our office is just across. So you could always walk in weekdays, 8 to 5, or you could set an appointment. So it's either virtual through Zoom, through Google Meet, or through phone. So you could just screenshot it, and then it'll lead you to our booking page. So other questions? Anything else that you would want to know? I know it's really an overview because it's mostly about all the city destinations that we assist. Okay, so questions. Okay. What if I am a Filipino American, but I want to study in America for college, even though I will be graduating senior? Okay, if you're Filipino American, you have to choose which passport do you want to use. Because if it's for the US passport, I think you'd be able to get the domestic rates. So if that's what you choose, then you have to apply directly, because entry requirements for international students are different from those domestic ones. So you don't need a student visa if your passport is if you're a US citizen, for that question. Okay. So I think there's another one. So I hope I answered your question. However, if you plan to apply, say for example, um to Australia, so you would be able to apply there directly. So the only issue is for the US, because if you use your passport, which is the US passport, then you would be able to enjoy the benefits of being a domestic student. Okay. Let me check. Oh, hello. I'm currently a rising senior, and I'd say my extracurricular awards and activities are not that impressive. I realized my dream of applying abroad late. So what advice could you give so that I could get into the prestigious universities abroad and acquire financial aid despite my lackluster academic resume? Do you think it's a little too late? Okay, so I think with your worry, it's mostly for the US, because in the US they look at you wholly, not only for your academics and your extracurriculars, but in the other countries that I've mentioned, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, they would only look at your grades. So as I've mentioned, even in Australia, if you finish high school with decent grades, like around 85 as your final average, then you'd be able to get in. Some universities even have automatic scholarship if you're a Southeast Asian. Some, if only you get like all 90s, or even if you took up SAT and then you got around 1300 or 1400, then you'd get scholarships as well for that. So it's never too late. And as I've mentioned a while ago, if you've seen the intake, so there are different intakes for you. I think it's best that you approach us so that we could match your preferences to schools that would be able to accept you based on the academic records or your background. Okay, so follow-up question, what if no longer have a current US passport? I think if you're using your Filipino passport, then yes, you'd be able to apply for the US. But I think best to discuss it with your parents first. Because for sure, if they would also want to consider you applying to the US with a domestic fee, right? So, two more questions. Is Columbia University one of your partner schools? Unfortunately, no, but we do have some Ivy League alternatives that we could provide you. Yes, our services are free. So from consultation up until pre-departure, even when you're ready to leave to your chosen country, we would still be assisting you. And also in Australia, we have AECC offices there. We have 3 in the big cities. So if you ever have encountered any issues, so Filipinos also who are working there in AECC would be able to assist you. What does federal student loan mean? So I think what's best is you check on first with your parents if you would want to, if they would want you to get the US passport, because if yes, then you'd be able to enjoy the student loan that is supported by the government, the federal government. Because if you don't have it, then schools would recognize you as a Filipino citizen. Any other questions? Should I discuss with my parents if they will consider me applying to a US university? Either yes, since they will be the one funding you. So best to ask them first about it. Other questions? Okay, so maybe just something to add. What I've mentioned a while ago is that it's not really a requirement to take up SAT if you, especially if you want to study in Australia or New Zealand, even in Canada, because they do have pathways. So a while ago in passing, I've mentioned about diploma year, which is equivalent to year 1. So it means that when you finish the diploma, it has similar subjects of that of a year 1 in the bachelor's that you want to study. Some of the higher ranking universities or the Ivy League counterpart in Australia, which is called the Group of 8, if you want to study there, majority of them, if you don't have SAT, majority of them would require you to do a foundation year, which is basically taking basic subjects like English, science, maths, even logic, on top of which is before the degree proper. So anyway, once we apply you there, so your visa would be good enough for the pathway program that you'll be taking, as well as the complete 3 or 4 year degree that you would want to take. Okay. Okay, so for the one asking a while ago. So if your passport is a US passport, then you don't need a student visa. But if you would be using your Philippine passport, then yes, you would need to use your Philippine passport and apply for a student visa. Okay, financial aid opportunities. Now the process is different as compared to the US because our partner institutions, the process is you need to apply first to the school. Now, when they assess your application, they already look for any possible scholarships for you. When you get an offer letter, it would be indicated there how much scholarship they would be able to give. Now, if we are aware, we at AECC are aware that there's a higher percentage of scholarships still available, then we could apply it separately. So other financial aid, I think we would be able to look assist you or provide you a list, like for example, government scholarships or probably private companies that are giving scholarships. So we could give you a list on that. But what's good is that when we apply, as I've mentioned, when you get an offer, then somewhat you'd already be seeing like a percentage of scholarship based on the grades that we will be submitting. My daughter is turning grade 10 this school year. When is the best time to start inquiring? Um, so there are actually two options. If you plan to let the student, your daughter finish first high school here in the Philippines, the best time is when either she has SAT already, or if she's graduating year 12, when she gets her year 12 first term grades. So that's the best time. Now, another option is because, say, for example, in Australia, grade 10, the student would be able to apply for a certificate for, or when she finishes grade 11, she could actually apply for foundation already. So there are a lot of different pathways going in. But if you plan to finish year 12 and going into a pathway, say for example, diploma, when she gets her year 12 first term grade. But if she takes up SAT, or she wants to do, she will be taking up IB or A levels. IB A levels when she gets her predicted grade. If she has SAT, when she gets her SAT, so we'll be able to apply her already. Okay, my daughter is an incoming grade 11. What is the initial step? We are interested in Australia. Her preference is psychology or biology. Okay, yes. If she is incoming grade 11, so I think it's the same as my answer a while ago. If she plans to finish the whole grade 12, finish high school here in the Philippines, so we can wait up until she gets her year 12 term 1 grades. Or right now, if she plans to go directly and not do any pathway like diploma or foundation, she could take SAT this year. And then once she gets her SAT, you can approach us and then we'll give you our partner schools that offer psychology and biology best. That has also a good law program later on. And then, okay, sorry. Someone was asking what does dependent mean. So that's why I skipped it a while ago, because dependent mean your partner, your spouse, and then your children. So that's why I skipped that. And then I'm an incoming grade 12 student, but I haven't taken the SATs yet. When is the best time to take the test, considering I have to travel to Manila or Cebu since I live in the province? You could actually check the College Board website. So they do have the upcoming exams there. And then just check which one would be the best option for you. And it's all about getting ready also. Yes. Okay, what are foundations exactly? Foundation year, the subjects are very basic. So English, math, sciences, because they want you to have mastery of the basic subjects before they allow you to enter the bachelor's degree. But the foundation year is also done in Australia, by the way. So most of the universities that offer foundation and diploma, it's also done on the same campus where the university is. So you would also have the chance to use the facilities like library or study halls in the university campus, even when you start off with a foundation or a diploma. Anything else? So let me just look at the slide for foundation and diploma so that you have an idea. But definitely, so you call it pathways. So it means that students would be able to apply even without SAT or IB or A levels. So because they want more Filipino students to study in their country, and they know that Filipinos, that we have already sent a lot of Filipino students who have successfully finished studying the pathway there and then went to university and were able to succeed. Hold on, let me just share my screen while we wait for other questions. Oh, okay, let me check if there's still some. Oh, okay, so someone is raising their hand. Yes, you can. Yes. Hello, good evening. Oh, are you allowed to unmute? I'm not quite sure. There, you can unmute Rizia namin so that you could ask your question. Oh, she's gone. We're not in partners with Berkeley, but yes, we do have partner schools um, in other countries like in UK and also in Australia. So top of mind in Australia, if you're aware, if you know who Hugh Jackman is, so we are in partners with WAPA, which is Western Australia School of Performing Arts, where he studied. So that's our partner. It's under Edith Cowan University, which is in Perth, Western Australia. So that's just one example, but we also have other partners in the UK as well as in the US. So again, while we wait if Riza Naman would still be coming back, um, I guess what's important is that you had an idea of the different study destinations and probably if it's the best fit for you. If you have decided or if you have more questions or your parents have more questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Again, this is our booking QR code. Feel free to book there. And then in the same website, you'd also be seeing the registration code for our event on August 19 here in Makati so that you could join. But then if you forget to register, don't worry because it's free. Walk-ins could come easily. It's at 12 to 5 in the afternoon. It's a Saturday. Okay, what do grade 12 students have to prepare immediately to study abroad? Um, prepare would be probably talking to your parents first. If they would be supporting you because it's not an easy, it's not cheap. Studying abroad is a luxury. So if they're able to support you financially, then that's number one. Number two, if you have good enough grades, I think 80 to 85% is already acceptable. You'd already receiving some scholarship with that grade. And then, oh, by the way, I forgot to mention a while ago, because in the US, recommendation letters or reference letters are always required. Again, for Australia, Canada, for New Zealand, it's just the grades that we need to use to apply you to the schools. So probably the next requirement would be the statement of purpose or the essay, which you don't have to worry about because we do have guide questions that we would be giving you. And then there's like a structure already. You just have to fill it all in, and then we'll be able to help you improve it more. So do you have any suggestions on how I can prepare to target a scholarship in Australia? Again, as long as you have 85 and above, you'd be able to get something already. Because I can't give you now because it depends on the school. And every year they change or they revise their scholarship depending on the school's budget. So again, just study hard. When you get 80, 85, or even higher than that, then you'd probably get more scholarships. For the one asking about financial support from parents, I think it's really needed. Because even if the school would provide you scholarship for tuition, then you have to worry about your living cost or the money that you need to use every day for your everyday living while you're there. So you have to talk to them about it. The US scholarships offer students who have 85 to 89 GWA. Okay, so it really depends on the school. We do have partner schools in the US that would be able to provide you some scholarship. But again, since they're only depending on your grades, so whatever grade that you have, then they would match it to probably a certain amount. But if you get higher scores, then you'd get a higher percentage of the scholarship. Is it hard to get sponsorships, and where could we get sponsorships for our living expenses? I think there are companies that provide scholarships, private companies. Maybe something that you could think of is the one that I've mentioned a while ago, which is the post-study work. So I'll just use again Australia and Canada as an example. So if you study there, say for example, in Australia, if you study there 2 years or longer, after you study, you just replace your visa to a post-study work visa, and then you could work there full-time, either 3 to 5 years. So if you're thinking of paying back or having a return of investment, so that's the time that you'd be able to get back how much you have spent during your degree. So Australia, Canada, New Zealand, even UK has the post-study work. They just have different terms for it, but then you have the chance to stay back, work full-time, gain connections, and then find probably opportunities for you there. Do you offer exchange student services? For AECC, we don't, but our partner institutions have it, so we could connect you to them. So a few weeks ago, we have students who had a summer program in Malaysia for a UK university that has a campus in Malaysia. So we stayed there for 2 weeks studying creative writing. So that's also possible. Also, something that I want to also mention, since I've already mentioned it, we have universities, partner universities that have campuses in Asia. So we have some Australian universities that have campuses in Malaysia, in Singapore. A lot of UK universities now have partner universities in Malaysia. So it means that if you want to study in that university, you could start off in an Asian campus so that your fees would be much affordable. And then you go to probably in your last year or last 2 years, you travel to the home campus. So that's possible as well. So these are ways to save money if you want that. But we also have a partner school in Singapore. So what you do is you study in that study center in Singapore, but the diploma and the curriculum that you'll be studying is actually from a campus from a university either in Australia, in the UK, or in the US. So that's possible as well. So you could study the entire 2 or 3 years in Singapore, but when you graduate, it's coming from a US university or a UK university. And if you do it in Singapore, they have less holidays, so you finish earlier as compared to your classmates or your equivalents in the home country where the university is. Do you offer exchange student program in Thailand universities? Exchange student program, not quite, because it's mostly about studying full-time there. But we do have some universities in Thailand that I could share with you. So you could just reach out to us and I could share. Okay. Oh, sorry, there's one more. Do you have a rough estimate on how much parents should prepare at the onset for applications? Well, basically, for these countries, the parents should, because it really depends on the university. If you want to go to the higher ranking universities, then they have more expensive tuition fees. In Australia, let's just anticipate in pesos, it would be around 1.7 to 2.5 million pesos for a year. That would be already a big university, a higher ranking university. But there would also be other options if budget is tight, then you start off with doing TAFE first, which is like the vocational arm of the government, which teaches you like vocational tech voc programs that would lead you to the university. This is like the same as how community colleges are, that would probably lead you to a university in the US. So there are a lot of ways to get you in. It's just depending on your preferences and your budget, so that we'd be able to give you the right university. It's best that you just come to us and then we'll figure things out. So another question, do you offer studying abroad part-time services? Okay, so studying abroad as a student visa holder, the requirement is really to study full-time. So full-time study, part-time work. That's how it goes. So in all the countries that I've mentioned. But then again, just to add on that, it's not like studying here in the Philippines that you're in class 8 hours a day, 5 times a week. It's not like that. So again, for Australia, probably you'd be going to class to campus three times a week, 4 hours per day, but it's not all like lectures, because you'd have tutorials and workshops. So tutorials would be smaller than the lecture hall. So you'd have better chances of asking your teachers about the lecture that just happened. Workshops would be something like more of application of what you have learned. One more, do US scholarships offer students who have 85? I think I've answered that already. So of course they would match you to whatever grade you have. They also have like a range on how much they would be able to give you with what grade you have. But this is again for our partner schools. So these are not the need blind schools that camp would be able to help you more about. Anything else? So I think I'm going back and forth, but yes, by the way, my name is Tricia again. So if you want to come to our office or you want to personally talk to me, I'm in the Makati office. You could just book an appointment and let them know that you want me to assist you. Or during the mentoring hour, so we'll be there. My colleague will be there as well, Zeus. So we will both help you out. Despite the less school hours in international institutions, is the quality of education still as rigorous? Of course it is. I mean, it's harder, but it depends on your time management. Most of our students succeed because they have good study habits even before they left the Philippines. So it's up to you on how you'd be able to handle it. But then again, going back to the consultation, we would really check your credentials. If you're really good in your maths and sciences, then take up biomedical engineering or something that requires higher maths and sciences. But then if you want engineering, but then your sciences are really, your grades there are not really that acceptable, I think we could find you a different program that would fit the grades, where your grades would be accepted. Why studying in the US becomes a luxury, especially without granted scholarships? Because it's expensive. Other than the tuition fee, during the visa application, well, actually, even before visa application, before they grant you the I-20, schools would require your sponsor to sign a financial declaration. In that financial declaration, they already put how much living cost you need. So say, for example, in California, your tuition fee is around 30,000 a year. And then living cost, specifically in LA, would be around 35. So all in all, the quote unquote show money is around 65,000. So before they give you an I-20 and then you don't have any scholarship, your sponsor must provide evidence that they have 65,000 USD so that they would allow you to apply for the visa. Because the government needs to know, the visa officer and then the admissions need to know that you have sufficient money, your sponsor has sufficient budget for you to study there, and that you won't have any trouble when you get there. Was it the last question? I think that's the last question. So thank you, Zeus, for placing my email there. I guess that's it. So thank you again, everyone, for joining this session. I know it's a lot, but I hope you have learned from it. And we hope to see you in the mentoring session and in our event in August. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much po. So it's the end of this session, and as mentioned earlier, if you have any additional questions or concerns, you can visit the AECC booking page for free. And you can also visit them during the mentor office hours on July 30 at 5 to 7 p.m. So we had a very, very productive Q&A session. So I'm sure our attendees found it really, really helpful to learn more about counseling with AECC. On behalf of Camp 2023's facilitation team, thank you so much, Tricia and Zeus, for walking us through how to apply to schools abroad with AECC. And with that, day one of Pathfinder has officially concluded. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you again tomorrow. Bye, everyone.